affect you while you were on set?
As a mom, it sucks seeing your kid sick anyway, but knowing that you were trying to push yourself to do work that you really shouldn't have been pushing yourself to do is really upsetting, to not be able to get you to take time and take care of yourself.
What were your thoughts on the dryer scene?
I thought it was pretty funny. I mean, I think a lot of parents are like, sometimes I just like to shove my kid in a closet or in a dryer and just be done with dealing with them. So it was kind of fun to do.
What were your thoughts on the Scary Boys?
Well, I was kind of in my head was thinking that it was something that didn't really have a body that you could see. It was just more of the scary things that go bump in the night kind of beast, I guess. But some of the comments we got about what they thought it was pretty interesting, and I like the fact that some people thought it was the cat.
For you, what inspired the film? It's like you're acting in the film.
I tried to base the way I reacted off of like the really good horror movies I've seen and how the person acts scared, and try to mimic that kind of attitude, but keep it a little comical at the same time.
Okay, which one of the cats do you think made the meowing sound?
I would probably guess it was William. He's our vocal kitty. He likes to talk a lot, so I'd guess it was probably him.
Is there anything that you would change or do differently in the film?
Not that I can think of offhand. I think the way it came out was pretty good as it is, so I don't think I'd really change too much.
What was it like working with me on set?
Much like anything else we do, full of comic relief we didn't try to add, it just happens.
Who's your favorite animal on production? Like, which animal do you think you enjoyed working with the most?
That would probably have to be this little one right here. She seems to think that she is our little director, and anything we do, she seems to think she's got to be a part of it or in charge of it.
What was the most surprising thing about the film to you?
I think how well it turned out. I don't think I expected the responses we got.
We were talking before about what happened with all of the cookies. Can you share a little bit of your experience with the cookies?
So many of them either got eaten by all of us or met their demise on the floor.
So many of them.
So many of them hit the floor.
Or that particular clip whenever we forgot the cookie on the counter and we went to bring the cookie over to the counter and it was already there.
Yeah. I'll take responsibility for that one because I kept taking it and putting it back when we were done, and that time, I don't know what happened, I just forgot.
How was it navigating spaces that were kind of small with your wheelchair? How did you handle that?
Well, I'm still learning to navigate anything with my wheelchair. I hit that table so many times. I don't know how many times I had to reset that table because I bumped it. And how many times, I don't know if people can see it, but me grabbing the leg of the table and kind of holding onto it as I went around.
Well, what do you think are the pros and cons of you being in a wheelchair while being in this film?
The cons, definitely try to navigate the house. I mean, trying to get around the lights without knocking them down or worrying about knocking the camera over.
Or running me over.
Or running over a family member or a pet. Oh, the pet's in the way. Poor Rocky, or that poor dog. I thought I was going to plow him over. But the pros? I think in some ways it helped that I didn't have to worry about falling over. I mean, you don't have to worry about if you get nervous and start shaking that you're gonna fall down. You're already down.
How did you feel about me tying you to the kitchen cabinet?
I thought it was funny. I got a kick out of her tying me to it because I think it was one of the best things that she did to sabotage me.
Did you have a favorite thing that you did to me?
Shoving you in the dryer. That was my favorite. I got a kick out of that too.
So was shoving me in the dryer your favorite part of the film?
Yeah, definitely. No, that's a horrible thing to say.
Could tell. Okay, so this is a little tougher of a question because it was difficult for both of us when it happened. So, how did the death of your dad affect filming and editing?
The filming, I don't think it had too much of an impact on because we were pretty much done with it. The editing was pretty difficult because I know it was hard for Sierra to concentrate on that. And for me, it was hard to help her because I was obviously dealing with all the emotions that comes with the loss of your dad or any loved one.
What would he have thought of this film?
Oh, he would have thought he would have probably said we were windy and we were silly. He would have got a kick out of it though.
We might have even got his refrigerator dance out of him.
Oh yeah. We probably would have got the refrigerator dance. Or at least one of his dances. The baby dance maybe.
Was there anything that happened during the film that you want people to know?
Oh, there's so many weird things that we had happen. But I think the funny part that people should know is the cat meowing at the end. That was just random. And I mean, it's funny that it led to so many thoughts of what it could have been under the sink.
Was it the cat wanting the cookie? Maybe it was, but
You may never know.
how did you being a student at Full Sail affect the film for you?
I don't think it hurt anything too much as far as that goes. I usually do my work during the day, earlier in the morning, in the afternoon, times like that. So it didn't hurt my work as far as getting it done. And it actually kind of gave me some ideas for the work I was doing at the time, so it helped.
What was your favorite bit of feedback that we got for the Cookie Caper?
I think that's a toss-up. One thing I liked was one of the classmates saying they were in a wheelchair, so they liked seeing somebody else who has to be in a wheelchair in the film, which I think is pretty cool since what I'm doing is creative writing, and I write for people who are disabled. I want to be an advocate for the disabled community, so that was really cool to get that feedback. And the other was people saying they couldn't figure out if I was the sister or the friend. That kind of cracks me up because we get that a lot. Instead of the being mom, which is what I am, people not knowing, oh, is that her older sister? No, I'm a good bit older.
How did you feel about the Putz flare? Well, to be quite honest, that was awful. Like, I felt horrible for the whole day before I went to the ER. It had been building up for a few days, and I didn't know that because I'd never had a bad one before. So, wasn't exactly sure what it was supposed to feel like. But I just remember being extremely dizzy, and every time I would stand up, I'd get hit with another wave of just dizziness, and I would have to sit down. And I would be completely nauseous. And I do remember there's one point in the filming that I actually had to sit down because I was going to crash into my lights if I didn't. And I knew at that point I probably needed to go to the hospital.
Do you feel like the POTS flare made it hard for you to make decisions for yourself at that point then?
Yeah, I don't think I actually had the ability to say, okay, I need to stop. Because I'm someone who is very focused on their homework. I do not, I don't turn in anything late if I can help it. I always want to be on time and do my best to get everything done, and when I cannot do that, I kind of freak out a little. So I think I was so, I had so much tunnel vision on getting the project done that when I got sick, my brain just okay, we have to do this, when really I should have been laying down.
What was your take on the dryer scene?
That was fun. That part, when I was feeling better, that was honestly probably the most fun I've had on any film set that I've actually been a part of during my time here at Full Sail. I think that was my favorite part of the whole project, was being thrown in the dryer. And it still makes me laugh every time I hear the sound I made when I went into the dryer.
The cat meow. Which cat do you think did the meowing?
I'd say it was either Freddie or William. They're both very talkative and they're very loud when they want to be. So, it wouldn't surprise me if it was either one of them that did it.
How did you make the scary voice?
The scary voice was actually my first attempt at doing anything with changing my voice in any way. So basically I went to voicechanger.io and I got their demon voice setting, and I had some sound effects that I had from previous projects that I had licenses to. And I took those and I played them and recorded that while the voice changer was doing whatever it was doing. I'm not technologically savvy, so but I did that, and that's where the burps and eating noises came from. And then the demon voice, what are you doing? Hi. The demon voice was actually me talking the whole time. So the demon sound changer effect was just over my voice, asking if I can come to, and that's just how I did that.
What inspired the film?
Okay, so my dad's a big fan of Laurel and Hardy and the Three Stooges, so I really wanted it to be something that he could watch and he can have a sense of nostalgia with from that. Just a more modern, updated version. But yeah, he's always liked the older shows, so I figured he'd really get a kick out of that, so that's where that came from.
What would you change or do differently?
Well, I think what I would do differently is I would definitely just have gotten an extension instead of, trying to push through when I knew I was starting to get sick. Because it was just kind of, at first I was fine working through it, but once I started to really get bad, I should have just been okay, I need to stop, I need to reevaluate here, because it was kind of a dangerous situation that I put myself in. Because I could have easily fallen and hit my head or had equipment come down on my head and things that I just don't want to happen. It would have been pretty bad if that had happened.
What was it like to work with family?
I think working, I've always worked on films with my family. Since I started Full Sail, this is the only film experience I've had. And I've always had a family member as one of the main characters in a film, but I've never acted in it myself before. And so, just acting with my mom was a lot of fun because we get up to a lot of shenanigans anyway. And I feel like we just get put in a room together and things just automatically go wrong somehow.
Oh, so often.
So we captured moments that went completely wrong, and it was absolutely hilarious to me, and it just made it so much more fun to work on the film for me.
The cost of the cookies.
There's so many cookies. We had no idea what we were getting into with this, which we should have, because on our last
pizza
our last film that we did with food, Pizza Problems, we had made so many pizzas out of biscuit dough and just like little toppings. Hundreds and hundreds of pizzas.
I still won't make a pizza like that.
No, we still won't make or eat a pizza made with biscuit dough again. They were good, but after you've had about 50 of them, you get sick of them real quick. And I don't know why we thought it would be different with cookies, but like...
Because I didn't have to cook them.
Yeah, Dad did. Dad had to make some of them.
He had to make them.
But, I helped him make some of them, but, we were making and eating so many cookies, and it's a good thing I like chocolate, because I had eaten so many of those cookies by the end of it. You would have thought that I would never eat chocolate again, but here I am still.
There's such luck.
Doesn't like still eating chocolate. It's still a bad habit, but I don't care.
Your dad went a lot more.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
Which I will gladly eat. I will eat them until I cannot eat anymore.
Okay. This one's a little harder. How did your grandpa's death affect the film?
Well, I didn't really tell anybody, as far as, like, I remember telling one teacher what had happened, and we had already wrapped shooting the Cookie Caper, but I still had to edit all the footage together several different times, and I had thought about taking a leave of absence from Full Sail, because it was just really difficult to keep going whenever you lose someone that is that close to you. And I remember I did take a break when we lost my Uncle Jimmy. And I just kept thinking, I want to get my degree so bad and just be able to do things without a time schedule necessarily again for a little while. And I knew my grandpa would not want me to take a break just because he died. He would have been like, keep going.
Yeah.
He wasn't the type of person to sit on his laurels and just do nothing.
The man that had 6 jobs all at once.
Yeah. He was a firefighter, an EMT, a security guard.
Confined space rescuer.
Yeah, confined space rescuer.
Special equipment manager.
He did a little bit of everything, and then he would come home, cook dinner, and garden, and whatever else he could get his hands on. Watch westerns, or read the Civil War books, or anything like that. So he wasn't the type of person that would just sit down and do nothing.
No.
I don't think he had it in him. And I know he would be like, no, you're not going to sit down and do nothing just because I'm not here anymore.
No.
And as much as I felt like I might need a mental health break, I knew that if I took one, it would be harder for me in some ways. Because, honestly, I like filmmaking, but I don't know if it's what I'll be doing in the future. So I was like, well, if I stop now, I might not come back. Because it's been pretty hard with, like, obviously anything worth doing is difficult, but whenever you're not sure about whether if it's what you want to do or not, it becomes like 1,000 times harder.
Yeah, I agree with
So
that.
I thought if I took another break, I might not come back. But honestly, editing the Cookie Caper helped a lot, because it kind of made me laugh when everything else felt kind of crappy. So, yeah, like, the Cookie Caper actually helped reel me back in a little bit.
What was your biggest concern of me navigating the spaces in my wheelchair?
Honestly, I was afraid you'd run over some of the pets for me, which almost happened a few times.
Poor Rocky, that poor boy did not know where to go. I thought I was going to run that doggy over.
I knew that if you crashed, you'd be fine, because you literally cut 3 of your fingers on Halloween once. It was just like, oh, I'm bleeding.
Well, I was.
Like, I know it wasn't a severe cut, but you, like, just normal people who slice their fingers are just like, oh, I might need stitches. You're like, oh, I'm bleeding. Does anyone have a bandage?
Well, I needed a Band-Aid.
worried about you crashing into something, because I know you could probably crash through a cement wall and be like, somebody might need to spackle that. And you'd be physically fine, while the rest of us are like, what? Spackle? You'd be like, oh right, you need like brick and mortar to fix that, not spackle. That's my bad. But like I knew you'd be fine, but I knew if one of the animals got run over, you'd feel so bad about it.
Yeah, I would.
And I was like, if I get run over, it's gonna hurt. I'll be fine.
Okay, what were the pros and cons of my wheelchair during the filming?
Well, the pros is it definitely gave us quite a few more ideas on how to sabotage you.
Definitely unique ones.
Yeah, it definitely made it easier to figure out sabotages, because I couldn't very well take a string and tie your leg to the kitchen cabinet. You would have just reached down and been like, okay, it's untied, I'm gonna go get my cookie now. But when the wheelchair got involved, it was much harder for you to actually get away. And I remember you forgot that it was tied to the kitchen door. And you started rolling and the door starts coming out of the cabinet setup. And we're like, oh, we forgot to untie you again.
Okay, what was your favorite part of filming?
Oh, definitely being thrown in the dryer. That noise I make every time I hit the dryer, that's the funniest part for me. I really liked that part. I don't know why that was so funny to me, but me getting shoved headfirst into a dryer was just my favorite part ever.
What did you do to make it safer for you as you got shoved in that dryer?
Okay, so after the POTS episode was over and I had an extension, when we started filming the next week, because I had been on bed rest for like 3 or 4 days, which I'm not good at. I was planning the whole time. I was planning the whole time. How am I going to get myself thrown into the dryer without hurting myself? Because I knew that, like, as much planning as I could put into the getting thrown into the dryer, I knew I was going to hurt myself somehow. Like, I knew there was no way around it. I knew no matter how many precautions I took, I was going to end up hitting something in the dryer and being like, oh, that hurt. Which did happen. I do have a clip somewhere of me smacking my elbow out the inside the dryer, and you just hear this big thump. The one time I hit my funny bone, and it's actually funny. That hurt. But the way we did it was I had the door to the dryer open so you couldn't see my legs. So when she comes up and kind of like gives me a little shove, she looks like she's shoving me really hard, but she's not shoving me anywhere near that hard. And so I had blankets inside the dryer and a pillow on the floor. And so whenever she gave me a little push, I dropped to my knees and just kind of made it look like I went head first into the dryer. Which I kind of did because I had my elbows like this and I just kind of went forward. But the pillows protected my knees. And then the blankets and everything that was in the dryer protected my head and my arms for the most part.
What is the one thing that you would like to add on your thoughts for this film?
One thing that I would like to add is that we have 12 animals, so we knew there was going to be some sound pollution from that. And we knew that we live in a neighborhood that's surrounded by 4 railroad tracks. So we knew there would be a lot of noise.
Oh, the trains.
The trains killed me in the dryer scene. When I was yelling for help in the dryer, I couldn't actually use the clip I wanted to because the trains, you can hear it so loud on the camera whenever you turn it up a little bit. It was just like a blaring horn, like you would have been standing right next to the train. It was so loud. So noise was a major issue, and it was around the 4th of July too, I think, when we did some of it.
Yeah. The fireworks.
Oh, there's fireworks
So
every day.
fireworks.
Every day we had fireworks going off for like 2 or 3 weeks. So
and for hours at a time.
Yeah, hours at a time, and we had to plan around it. And of course, we have neighbors that have a really loud party every 4th of July and like Labor Day and stuff like that. So we could hear their music all the way down the street.
Oh yeah.
And we were trying to plan around different sounds. And of course, with our animals being here, we have even more sounds. But yeah, there was a lot of work going into picking clips that did not have the sounds of the neighbors or the animals. So that random clip with the cats meowing was a total accident. But I like people to think that whatever they think the scary voice is, I kind of like seeing what everybody else thinks it is, because I know what it originally was, but I kind of like seeing the different, the different ideas that people have of what the monster or under the sink or whatever it was actually is. Like what my mom said before with it being a cat having the demon voice. I thought that was hilarious. That was actually one of my favorite theories that came out of the whole thing. And I know when I showed my grandmother, she heard the cat meow and go, "Star, did Star eat the cookie?" Which that's this little munchkin right here. But it was really funny to see which theories people came up with.
So, what was your favorite comment on the feedback section?
Oh gosh, definitely the demon cat. That was my favorite one. Because I was thinking about it and I'm like, that voice coming out of a cat would have been so funny. And I know we had talked about maybe if we ever edit it again in the future, we'll have a cat running after us as we leave.
Sassy, maybe.
And, yeah, maybe Sassy. She might work best.
Most likely to follow me.
Or Star. She seems pretty happy with it. Oh, I think she'd just much rather take our chair and...
Yeah, she'd probably just steal our chair. Sassy, however, would follow behind, but not to follow us for where we were going, just so she could go roam the house.
Yeah, but I definitely think that if we edit it again, we might make it a little more obvious what the voice is. Like, maybe we'll pick a definitive thing for the voice to come out of and have it like that. But for now, I really like the way it turned out.
I do too.
But yeah, that definitely would be, because I remember there were so many random things that happened during that last scene that were like, oh, it could have been this, or like, I heard people say that the sink ate the cookie, or that the cat had demon voice and ate the cookie. And there's at one particular point where a moth flies right at the camera, and we had no idea that that was there until after editing the 3rd or 4th time. I was like, well, it could have been the moth too.
Yeah, maybe that was a strange little creature that just followed behind us to go get the donuts.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed making this film, and that was part of the reason I enjoyed it so much, is because it's just like, okay, what is it? Like, is it a monster? Is it a cat? What is that?
In closing, is that something you would think about doing as a part 2 about the monster wanting to follow you to go get donuts?
I don't know if I'd necessarily do a part 2 as far as going to get the donuts, but maybe like starting the cycle all over again with donuts and just different sabotages.
That's interesting to do.
Like, just to see where it goes next, because I know a lot of the older films, they would have like part 2s where it would be basically the same thing, but they would change it up in slight ways so it wasn't boring. And I think I definitely would include that. Like, maybe we have like a detective questioning the animals. Okay, which one of you ate the cookie?
Yeah. By that time I'll have my custom wheel turn. We could have a whole new way to sabotage me getting tied to a cabinet.
That still makes me laugh thinking about you getting stuck on the cabinet. But I'm not terrible, I swear. But yeah, that part was definitely a lot of fun to film, and I would probably do a part 2 if the right circumstances came up. Maybe make it as a little series of different things, because the people in this house are obsessed with food. Like, we all love food.
Yes,
we don't
yes, we
look
are.
like we love food, but we love food.
Yes, we do.
And one thing that I probably could do is, my grandfather made spaghetti all the time. So, when he passed away, that was one of the last things he made was spaghetti, and everybody got some. So I was thinking maybe we'll fight for the last bowl of spaghetti or something. Like, we'll make his recipe and fight for the last bowl of spaghetti.
That'd be fun.
And, like, have some, maybe, like, have a way of throwing in a Western somewhere in there. He would like that. But, yeah, that would definitely be a lot of fun to do a part 2.